Hello, everyone. My name is Kęstutis Jovaišas. I'm a co-founder of EdTech startup, EditAI. And in our startup, we help teachers and schools to develop integrated content.
Hi, my name is Pascal. I'm from Examiner, the creators of the same-named digital exam platform. And we help teachers and others to achieve better conditions for the whole exam process.
My name is Fabrizio Fracassi. I'm the creator of Fuel, which is a role-play-based interactive writing platform. Fuel helps students acquire reading and writing skills, but most importantly, empathy, critical thinking, and creativity.
Hi, I'm Fatih Gök, and I'm from TeachRemote, where we recreate side-by-side physical tutoring, but online. We aim for educational institutions like private schools, schools in general, schools with special needs, up until the private schools, there's no real boundaries.
My primary target are individual teachers.
Teachers are in the end the most important ones because they are the end users. So we talk directly to teachers, but we also speak to other people involved in the school management staff. So like pedagogical ICT supporters or with school administration itself.
So we try to reach schools. We present our product and platform to school leadership. And then ultimately we are given a chance to present ourselves in front of a school teachers audience, or vice versa.
Getting in contact with these people can sometimes be difficult because, especially if they're state-owned, getting in contact with these people and trying to get a demonstration, implementing the system can prove difficult as there's a lot of bureaucracy going on.
I send them emails, which can be a tedious process. To contact them this way. Sometimes I get in touch with school administrators and ask them to present my solution to their staff, but this is not very effective. And sometimes I offer workshops for teachers, and sometimes I get the opportunity to be at trade fairs or conferences where I have direct contact with teachers.
Sometimes it's quite easy to reach them and it goes very fast. But in other cases, the dialogue takes months or even more. So it takes a little bit time for their decision.
I would say to reach is one thing, right? But to get attention and to get them on board and really stay committed, at least to try and to listen, it's pretty difficult. We have discovered also quite many times that teachers are overwhelmed with different things happening at school, right? Testing different programs, implementation, and so on and so forth.
Since we're from Switzerland, we thought, hey, we want to implement this for Switzerland, but why not carry it further to the EU or even worldwide? Because what we want to do is make online tutoring more accessible to a broader audience. Because as of now, online tutoring is a bit privileged, it can be expensive. And what we did was to provide a method which lowers the adoption barrier.
My customers are national in the German-speaking part of Switzerland. That's because Fuel is currently only available in German. I'm planning to expand into other German-speaking regions in the EU, but for now I'm looking to have a solid user base in Switzerland.
For now, we just focus on the German-speaking part, which is easier for us because we are based in the German-speaking part of Switzerland, and yeah, that's why we focused for now on these 3 countries. And yeah, but the future we'll see in which country we can go.
We consider our customers the whole world. We have met quite a number of schools globally, and it seems that in every place in the world, we face similar challenges. We were testing our product in our country. This is our home market, so it's easy to connect. It's easy, to know people and to get in touch and to know the events where something is happening and to be there present. So we are trying to approach different countries just to understand the differences, to understand the background, the patterns, and adjust the product accordingly.
Coming from Switzerland, I think one of the challenges is partly data privacy related, because if you go from Switzerland to Germany and Austria, you have to make sure that you comply not only with Swiss, but also with EU-based law.
To be fully honest, it wasn't that easy to get into new markets, but I think this is quite normal. What was our main approach was using, for example, fairs to get into new markets. It's a good place to generate leads and promote your brand, but it's also a good place to get insights and knowledge about your new market. So you learn a lot how things works, maybe differently in comparison with your home market. I think if you want to really go into a market of a country, you need to have the translation in the language of the countries.
In each country, there could be a difference in terminology as well, how people call the same things. In some country, when we say it's project-based learning, it's understood in one way. And in another country, it could be understood in a bit different way. Another challenge is, of course, the network and trust. We also observe that schools run in a certain cycle of the year. Going internationally, we have faced also another challenge. This is a business model selection. In different countries, we try to use different models and see which way would work best.
As we are also a member of the Swiss EdTech Colliders, we have a lot of networking opportunities, and what is a solid interest of ours is to establish pilot projects at the school here and there, establishing test beds or meeting like the right decision makers to enable a good pilot project.
I'm a member of the Swiss EdTech Collider. As a member, I value access to a network of like-minded people, startups, or even potential partners. I also value the exposure that I get from being a member of the Edtech Collider.
Yes, we are a member of two organizations for now. So in Switzerland, we are a member of the Swiss EdTech Collider. And in Germany, we just got member of the Bündnis für Bildung. Besides a lot of other advantages, these organizations help us to expand our network. Or a specific example for the Swiss EdTech Collider. So they provide a testbed program in which schools can test our digital exam platform for free.
We've been in contact with EdTech Lithuania a few times. We also have participated in European Digital Educational Hub Accelerator program, which has finished in the end of last year. So that was a huge learning opportunity for us as well. And at the same time, we are supporting partner of Empowered ED project.
After 2023, it felt like the market was saturated, but in our case, it was not really the case, because we don't provide a purely digital online tutoring method.
What I notice when I'm in touch with teachers or school administrators, I get the impression that there's a ton of solutions, EdTech solutions around. I think schools and teachers are swamped with these solutions and they're just overwhelmed. And it's kind of makes it difficult for each individual to enter the market or position themselves.
So as of now, our startup doesn't require a lot of funding in order to have things running. What we're mainly focusing on is to get as many users as possible and to have it run as cheaply as possible, so we have these customers using them. In the future, of course, we also have different plans for our startup. We need to expand, we need new features and so on. And for this, we plan to use these customers then to show investors that we have the potential to grow. And these would be the main sources of funding.
Fuel has a social impact and is also free of charge. So it was able to receive funding from foundations, as well as from the Federal Office of Culture in Switzerland. I was also able to obtain funding from InnoSwiss, which is the Swiss Innovation Promotion Agency, and they financed the development of teaching materials specifically for my platform. If I would go to investors, I would need to show them that there's money coming in and that it's people are willing to pay for the service. But the fact that it's free of charge at the moment does not exclude, obviously, the fact that it can be a freemium model in the future, where I add functionality for a price. But at the moment, I'm focused on growing the user base.
Coming back from Accelerator, we went and established a spin-off company, EditAI. In a few months, we had already the first client to test. I mean, that was already a paid client. I mean, that was a special case. But that was one case, and following that, we had few other schools already following the same pattern. In an ideal scenario, we would like this to be a product which is already selling itself, So we believe that if you have a right product in the market, you do not need that big of investment, to actually make it happen in school. And then it will be a matter only scale up, meaning increasing a number of schools, increasing a number of countries. Then we will maybe looking for external funding for that acceleration program.
Since we do have a Swiss mentality in our startup, we say privacy is everything. And that's why we don't collect data in order to run things in the first place. But of course, we communicate with potential users that we would be interested to gather some anonymous data in order to see how well the method is faring. And we just establish some metrics to see what could be improved, what is of interest, what is okay, which shouldn't be touched, and so on. But in general, we don't need personal data in order to run it.
So in my case, I don't use personal information except for IP addresses. And the platform is free of charge, and users don't have to enter their email address nor a password or something like that to be able to use it. So it is easier to comply with data privacy.
Yes, we collect personal data, but very, very less. From the teacher side, we have their name and the email address for the profile and the login process, but that's all. So we don't collect any other personal data or other data. And for sure, as I said, it's very important for us, and we are compliant with the GDPR and the corresponding Swiss Data Protection Act. This has number one priority for us. And I think it's also some kind of in the DNA of our company not to collect data, just that you have data and can do statistics and whatever.
We were trying to avoid that necessity. And from day one, we said we will not collect the student data, which is the most sensitive part. Then from the user perspective, definitely we have a minimum data required in order to use the platform for teachers. That is for registration, meaning name, surname, email, contacts when we set up the whole school. But the school itself can have access and modify the data itself. And we also set our policies and regulation within the company in order to comply with GDPR requirements.